Hi guys,
Hello.
happy Sunday. Hopefully this will be done in one take. So we will,
Oh, because the last few lives that we did, we had to stop and then
whatever it
do
is, we,
another
we
one.
overcame. So happy Sunday. Hope everyone had a phenomenal week, had great Halloweens. Hey Tracy, hey Nancy, hey Debbie, happy 60th. You're making 60 look like the new 40 girl. Keep it up. And, if you're jumping on, say hi and where you're coming in from. So, what spurred tonight's conversation? Nancy and I were watching this amazing video on YouTube. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you too. Hey, Debbie. Hi, Nicole. What spurred tonight's conversation was actually a video we watched of Bob Proctor. And for those that don't know who Bob Proctor is, he was, he contributed to The Secret. He was the understudy of Earl Nightingale, who wrote The Strangest Secret, great book. And it was more about what we're looking to manifest in our businesses, in the next couple of years. Hi, Jesslyn. Good to see you on here. Hi, Jennifer. And what we realized that, with what we took away from this video that Bob was speaking about, it can be applied to any aspect of life, whether it's relationships, whether it's business, whether it's money, or manifesting anything. So, hey, James. James on here. Jamie from
Oh,
RVN.
Jamie, hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm a little Stacy right now.
Okay. Anyways, hi Steph, good to see you. So here's what we wrote down was 3 keys that we felt lead to an amazing life. And number 1 is deciding what you want. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Why don't you start with that?
Kick it off. So I know Scott said, it's 3 things, to help. I want all the cards.
Stealing our notes.
It's, 3 things for an amazing life, but I think, also 3 things for an amazing relationship. And, we start out, like Scott said, deciding what you want. And it was really funny because I was watching. So I don't know how many of you out there are on YouTube, often enough. And every time I'm on YouTube, I have so many videos that I want to watch. So I started queuing them up. I'm like, watch later, watch later, watch later. And it's awesome. So now I guess it's my new Sunday thing starting today, that, I really like to spend my Sundays spending time where I can kind of like read, or I can watch podcasts, or I can do things that kind of level up a little bit. And I started watching my, watch later list. And one of the videos was Bob Proctor. So I had been sitting there and we were kind of watching through a couple videos, and the Bob Proctor video came up, and he was just talking about, like, again, it's so important to decide what you want. And we as humans, it's so incredibly awesome because we have the ability to actually plan out in the future and to have creativity and to have this intuition and have this knowledge of, hey, you know what? If I want to achieve $1 million, that's awesome. I can go out and I can say, I want to, make $1 million a year, and we can actually, oh, look how cool that is. Yeah. So basically we can say, I want to make $1 million, and we can work backwards on how we can actually get there. So it's like, okay, it equals this many, clients, it equals this many sales, it equals this many products priced at this much. We can always work backwards, and we can kind of like go from there. So it's really exciting. And I know we do these relationship talks every Sunday, and I thought it was really cool, and Scott thought it was really cool to tie it all together because it works with relationships too, right? Like whenever I was single and I had that big period of time where I was just like, I really don't want to date, I'm kind of like content with, who I am and what I am. But during the time that I was single, for the first time in my entire dating life, I actually wrote down what I wanted in a partner, and, what I wouldn't, what I do want and what I didn't want. And then, I just kind of stuck to that because there's so many people out there, and there are so many people who might fit a few things and then might fit some of your might not fit some of your non-negotiables. But it's important for you to actually decide what you do want in life and in a relationship. So I thought that video really was cool because it tied into everything, whether it's money you want to make, whether it's business you want to get, but also the relationship that you want to have, whether you're in one currently or whether you're single and you might be looking for something, but you're not incredibly sure what, or you haven't really thought about that. So that was neat.
I think there's a big difference between saying and doing. I think there's a lot of people that say they want something. I want a big house. I want a fancy car. I want a great relationship. I want more intimacy. I want more openness. I want more communication. They say that they want these things, but you haven't really officially decided that you actually want it to go after it. Because he was saying in this video, he was talking to a couple, and he was sitting down with them, and he said, well, what do you guys want right now? And he said, well, they said, we want to buy a house. And he said, we'll go buy the house. And they said, well, we can't because we don't have the money for it. And he said, well, that doesn't matter. You can still go buy the house, because he said, in order for you to get the house, you need to decide here that you're going to buy the house, and you will figure out the money later of how to get it. But if you keep like saying you want to buy the house, or you think you want to buy a house, it's all saying and thinking. It's not doing and committing to something, deciding on it. That's going to manifest that into your life. And the same thing with the relationship. So I was saying this to Nancy, for the longest time, I would always say to my mom and my sister, and, and they said, well, who's your perfect person? And I don't think anyone has a perfect person, but for me, someone that treated me the same exact way that I treated them, but also completely honored my hustle, my work ethic, and everything that I'm about, that was going to be my person. And, Nancy came into my life at a time where we were both trying to figure out, what's next. She had just gotten out of 2 serious back-to-back relationships. I had just gotten out of 3 back-to-back serious relationships, and we were both contemplating, like, is this in the cards? And we were both confidently happy, single, completely. And we still say to each other that, like, God forbid something doesn't work out. Like, we're cool. Like not saying that it's not going to work out, but we know we have the confidence where, the time that we spent single and by ourselves, it gave us the confidence knowing that, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with or without someone. Now, on the flip, we both knew that we did want to be with someone. So we're both really happy that this happened. Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I also personally decided, I'm like, you know what? No, I deserve that. I deserve the best relationship ever. I deserve to be treated the way that, and it's funny because she's never been with anyone like me, and I've never been with anyone like her. And it's like, it was very weird in the beginning because I'm like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, well, what are you doing? Because
it's like, you're so nice, but I'm so nice. Like, what's happening?
It was just, it was very different. And what I can tell you guys is that unless you decide what you want, I mean, literally, you can decide today that I was having a conversation with my buddy, Chris Harder, and he gave up an hour of his time to talk to me last week. And I'm grateful to be doing this mastermind with him for the next 12 months. And he said to me, what's your goal for what you want to achieve monetarily next year? And I gave him a number, and it was a good number. I mean, in my mind, it was a good number for where I am this year to where I want to go next year. And he said to me, why not $1 million? And I said, you're right. Why not $1 million? So here's what I learned. It doesn't matter that I've never earned $1 million in a year. if I decide that that's what I want to earn this coming year, you work backwards from it. You imagine, you decide that you're going to achieve that goal, and you work backwards of how you're going to get there over the next 12 months. So you decide it's going to happen. You decide it's there. Then you just have to figure out along the way. Now that that decision's been made, all you have to do is put the pieces of the puzzle together of how to make that happen over the next 12 months. Now, that might mean the first 6 months of the year, I make $200,000, and the second 6 months, something clicks. The other 800,000 shows up. There's my million. But as long as I've decided that. And it was weird because we were talking about it. Like we both said, $1 million, it doesn't sound unattainable anymore. It doesn't even sound like a lot of money. It doesn't. It sounds so normal for anyone to be able to achieve if you put your mind and you decide to do it.
Well, and I watch a lot of, as an entrepreneur, I watch a lot of, YouTube videos. I watch I listen to a lot of podcasts, things like that. And it was funny because I've been telling Scott, like in the last couple of weeks, I've seriously been listening to so many podcasts about people who have done just what we're talking about, who have literally worked backwards. And it's like, okay, how many millions of people are there in the US? And if you just sell $1, a $1 product or something to 1 million people,
there it
boom,
is.
Okay. So it's like, if you really kind of break down things and you break down what you want, and the one podcast I listened to, it was like, stop thinking of how you're going to do it. That's going to happen, right? Like, and I'll try to, if I can remember exactly the podcast and the link, I'll try to leave it in the comments. But it basically was just saying, stop overthinking everything and putting yourself almost into analysis paralysis, where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this big idea one day, and then you stop and you don't do it. Guys, like, do it, because like, what is there to lose in this big life, right? So many of us, and I was telling Scott too, in relationships, like kids, for example, like, you can't, like, there's not a perfect time to do anything, right? There's not a perfect time to start a business. There's not a perfect time to have kids. There's never a perfect time.
What was the thing that he was talking about with Abraham Lincoln? Because they said he was saying the visible is actually what we
to believe in the visible, like to believe in things that are visible and everything is one thing, but like to believe in the things that are invisible and to like, actually go forward with your instincts and your gut and the things that are unseen.
That's where the magic happens.
Is where the magic happens. And that goes all the way back to Lincoln. And it's insane, guys, because every single developmental video, and, whether it's Bob Proctor, whether it's, like all these other people, it keeps stemming back to this book that we keep talking about, which is The Science of Getting Rich by Wall C. Waddles, which everything stems from. It's 100 years old. It's literally the foundation of every kind of developmental book and everything that steers towards, if you literally set a goal, set a vision, you set your sights on something and you stay focused and you have like unwavering faith and purpose towards this mission, you're going to do it. So stop doubting yourself. Stop telling yourself that you can't get that guy and that person that you want. Because I'm not even kidding you. I had a point in my life where I was just like, you know what? I'm happy being single. It's great. I'm good. I'm happy with me. I had so much growth, during that time, and actually getting to know myself, that I was like, damn, I'm pretty awesome. Like, all by myself. But I knew what I want, and I knew in order to be in a relationship, Scott and I even went on a couple dates before I still was like, okay, both of us, it was perfect, in fact, how it all panned out, because, you hear so many love stories where it's like, oh, I knew it first, like it was done, it was whatever. It was literally our third date where we kind of got out of our heads, we kind of got out of the situation, and we were like, this person who I'm sitting across the table from is it. Like, that person who is talking to me right now. We had a 6-hour-long date, our third date, and we just could not stop talking. I seriously wanted to just stay. Like, I wanted to stay forever. It was like amazing. And you know what? I love that it was our third date that we came to that realization, and that there was so much space in between, because we had kind of had some time. We had kind of seen other people, and we realized what we had was something special. So knowing what you want and actually deciding what you want, is step number one. And, for all my single friends out there, and for so many people who were like, oh, dating, whatever, just decide what you want. You don't want to just stumble across any old relationship that, you think might be it or whatever. It's like, no, like hold true to your foundations and your core values and what you want, and be a little selfish, because this is your life.
Yeah.
And it's someone you want to be with. And it's like, would you rather be with yourself and spend all this wonderful time with you and go to the park and take yourself out to eat and go to a spa and like, all these things for yourself? Or do you want to actually share the majority of your time with someone else who's worthy of your time and who is respectful of your time and who is going to be that good fit that you want? So, be selfish, decide what you want.
Yeah. And, just like Jesslyn said, don't think, just do. And that's what it is. So when you guys actually finally decide what you want in your relationship, in your marriage, in your life, that's when things start to happen. So if you're not going to decide, you're just going to want and think, and you're going to stay there for the rest of your life. So number 2, and this is big, and I think this always creeps back on people no matter when it is your past will always be there. Always. It may be there, in very small little bits. It may not appear every once in a while, but your past your baggage is with you for life. It's always going to be there. And we had a very interesting week, personally, with things from my past that were creeping up big time this week. And it was actually like it was frustrating for the both of us, because the initial response to anything, no matter what the situation is, it's always emotional. The first initial response, it's how you're feeling emotionally about it.
Do you want to like kind of elaborate a little bit, or like paint a picture, a hypothetical maybe, just so they know?
So basically, I committed. I made a big personal and financial commitment to myself, my business, and my brand for 2019 in a very exclusive mastermind with some high performers and top coaches. And I was contacted by someone that was a part of the mastermind, letting me know that there was basically just not even a situation, but there was something that occurred, and it just had to be brought to my attention. And basically, I talked about it with Nancy, and are both are. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, so we've had an interesting week, because, right, so how many of you out there have dated people and have been with people, and at this point, right, so I'm 33, Scott is 39. I always want to say he's like 40 already, but he's not.
Don't rush it.
So he's 39. The older you get, the more baggage you have, right? You have history, you have relationships, you have things kind of under your belt. And, I had 2 relationships, that were very serious. I was engaged twice, and, they were great relationships, and we ended, like on good terms. I mean, everybody's moved forward, and it's for the best and all that good stuff. But it's like that's kind of my history. Scott has been married twice. He's been in multiple serious relationships, and he does have a child. So for me, it's kind of a whole new playing field where most of the people that I've dated haven't really been in that situation yet, haven't been married. I haven't had, any of that interaction, or actually had to even think about, any kind of, past relationships to that point, or that serious, and especially marriage. I mean, marriage is a huge thing. So when we talk about, and we only say without being completely transparent, but in the last week, it's like the theme of the week is past relationships kind of rehashing and coming out of the woodwork. And honestly, I told Scott it was really funny because my initial reaction, and I'm at such a state of like enlightenment, right? I'm like, oh, I'm so mature and I'm so confident and I'm so whatever. And it's like this, something just kind of eking. It was like kind of a thing that came back up, an ex, whatever. Like, and it was like, oh my God. Like, and I reacted in such an emotional way and it set me on my butt. And I'm like, you know what? I really care about this guy. Like I've never reacted in such a way where I'm like, oh, it was just really funny that I reacted in such a way because one, I surprised myself. Two, I'm like, shit, I need to really step back and I need to consider like, what are the themes here? What's the growth? Like, what do I need to work on? And how can we kind of communicate and talk this out? Because I really 100% feel like we have such an amazing relationship. We have something that so many people, we have such a good relationship because we literally talk about everything. We are best friends. Our normal routine, like it's been off a little since I've been like getting up so early, but like, we usually go to the gym, we talk the whole time, we go get coffee, we talk the whole time and we just talk about things. So we're so open with each other. And whenever things kind of come up out of nowhere and I get my little like, back up and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, it was kind of like a thing. And so we kind of had to put a stake in it. We're like, okay, what's the learning from this? How are we going to bring our best selves to this? And how are we going to be bigger, better people? And, again, without like totally disclosing the whole situation, it's just like your exes are always going to be there. Your past is always going to be there, especially when you date someone who might have also, children or.
And just to preface, like, the situations that came up, they weren't like,
oh, it was nothing
they were blips on the radar. It was like all in the same day.
It wasn't even in the same day. It was in the same 3 days. And then weird stuff was said. Like, it was so weird that all of this, it was like, hey, like, and it was just like, oh my God, like, what the hell? What is this? But if you are strong, if you are literally like, so rock solid, nothing should change. Nothing should shake your, foundation. Actually, I want to read a quote that I just got.
While she's getting that,
I have it like right here.
Okay, here it is.
So it says,
I'm going to wait.
You have to get to a point where your mood doesn't change based on the actions and opinions of other people.
Yeah.
Don't let people shake you. Don't let exes, don't let other things rock you, shake you, make you feel any certain way. If you are bringing your best self to this relationship and you're bringing your best relationship, like if this is really meant to be confident in yourself. Don't lessen that. Don't bring yourself down 5 notches. Like, no, like stay confident, stay true to you. Like, remember what's so great about your relationship, and then nothing should be shakeable. Everyone has baggage. Okay. And let's get it. Like, the older you are, the more baggage people have, okay? And I don't even care, like, oh, guess what? That boyfriend I had back in high school and, early stages of college and and then this person here and then that person there. I get it. Everybody has baggage. But in order for you to have a healthy, strong, solid, sturdy relationship, my goodness, you got to let go of that stuff. You got to be confident in that relationship. Like, you do.
No, it was funny because Saturday, Taylor had soccer. Nancy had an open house. So she had to do a listing. She had to do an open house. And
real estate.
So she was busy all day. Taylor had a play date after soccer. So I was busy all day. And, she sent me a text message as I was coming back, before Taylor and I went to grab some dinner. And she goes, I've had some time to myself and I just wanted to just put out there how I feel. And she texted me and it was like 5 things. And she goes, number 1, this. And it basically, she was just expressing to me how she felt about those things. So I read them and I didn't get emotional. I wasn't like, oh, F her and her feelings. Like, no, I acknowledge, like, and I was in the car, so I wasn't texting. I sent some voice messages and I went point 1 to point 5. And I said, number 1, first, I just want to let you know that, I appreciate you and thank you for always telling me how you feel so I don't have to guess. And, thank you for allowing me to openly express how I feel. And I went through each one of her points about how she was feeling, and I acknowledged it and recognized it and let her know how I felt about it. And then, she got home late, but we were talking on the phone, and we just shifted the complete mindset of the situation, because you always create stories within things. So like, I just, there was the original picture that was painted, and I'm like, no, I don't, let's erase that. And then I'm like, so then I went in the corner and I said, how about this painting? And I painted the situation in a much different light. And she's like, I like that picture. She was like, yeah. It's all, life is all about perception. It's all about how you perceive things. So when something is said, when something is done, we naturally, as storytellers in our mind, create something around it, which creates an emotion, which creates a response, which creates a reaction between you and that person. So all we did was kind of just break down what was there, and just change the story. Like, instead of being here, we said, no, let's move it over here and let's view it this way. Because I said to her, listen, we're giving way too much energy and time to this situation. So let's talk this through. Let's move past it. Let's rise above. Because I said to her, how would the best version of ourselves respond to this? And we both looked at each other and were like, we wouldn't even fucking care. Like, it just would be no big deal. So I said, well, there's our answer, because right now we're looking at this at a very, very low vibrational level. So let's level up and we move past it. So my friends Tara and Mark just jumped on, and we just want to say congratulations on the upcoming new edition. We saw the post on Facebook, so congratulations to you guys. So do you want to say anything else about that before we last thing, or is that good?
No, I mean, I think you said it.
Okay, good. So remember, your past is always going to be there, but you decide how to perceive it. It can be your past, or it can be something that just can be painted in a different light, because we create those stories.
Yeah. Oh, wait. And Amy said, Nancy, where do you find such a good guy? They're like hiding where I'm at. Love you guys. Oh. First off, I got incredibly lucky, and
I got lucky.
So I actually had a friend who told me to download Bumble, and I refused for the longest time to ever download a dating app. But Bumble is a dating app. I totally tell people to download, because especially if you're a girl, no creepy guys can reach out. The girl has to actually make contact, and you can, swipe and whatever. And I just happened to see Scott, and I was like, oh, this guy is handsome. And, I swipe, and he was literally my first Bumble date.
And she was mine. And it was funny because my sister's the one that said, listen, you work from home, you never go out, you're never going to meet anybody, so you got to do this a different way. So download the app, and the rest is
it was so funny.
And it's funny, actually, this Wednesday will be 1 year from our third date, when everything happened.
Yeah,
so November 7th will be a year.
Yeah, and that's what I always tell people.
It goes by like that.
Like, don't think, on the first date, right? We had such a good date. I mean, it was my first online dating experience. I didn't really know what to expect, but don't think that's it. If you have a connection with someone, but you're kind of like, okay, I'm kind of still just feeling things out or whatever. And then you have your second date or whatever. Don't just totally dismiss it, because,
it was 10 weeks later. Our second date was 10 weeks.
We let it
after
breathe.
Our first date.
We let it breathe. We kind of did our own thing.
We were both still in weird situations.
And literally, it could not have happened in a perfect situation. But the thing is here.
Jesslyn said, download it.
You always find random people, you find trolls, but after talking with somebody for a little while, you kind of can see their emotional maturity. You can kind of see where they're at. You can kind of dig into questions before you actually meet them. But do not settle. Become confident in who you are. I say, don't even go out on a date until
Debbie's birthday is November 7th.
what you really want. Oh, Deputies, I thought it already went by. That's awesome.
That's a good date.
That's the official. So anyway, so don't even go out on that Bumble date, everybody out there, until you actually decide what you want.
Okay. Now, number 3, I know this kind of sounds very generic. You guys have probably seen me quote it and Nancy quote it, but it's so true. This goes for anything in life, personal, financial, am I boring you? Relationship. So here's number 3 before we close out. And what you guys have to know, everything in life is possible. Everything. You want the best marriage possible. You want an amazing family. You want an amazing job, an amazing income, car, house, vacations, a second home down the shore. Everything in life is possible if you believe. I know it sounds so hokey and airy-fairy and just like, but it's so true. If everything in life is possible, if you believe that it's possible, I'm sorry, the Wright brothers, they believed in flight. They actually knew it before they actually created it. You know, look at what Steve Jobs did. We found out in that Bob Proctor video that the current iPhone is more powerful than the first computer that was used to send the first astronauts in space. So we're walking around with something in our pockets that is more powerful than what they used back in the day to send astronauts into space. So if you believe in something and you believe in the possible, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I always throw this out there that something that's been really impactful for me, and I think Jesselyn is on here. She was on our podcast last week, but there's a really impactful Facebook page, and it's called Goalcast. And for any of you who have not looked at it, it basically has stories of so many different people who experience, and a lot of them are celebrities, but they experience hardships, hard lives, things like growing up. Maybe they were bullied or teased or something, whatever. Dyslexic. Like there's so many different stories. I mean, oh my gosh, stuff you didn't even know about some of the most famous people out there. I mean, there's one about The Rock that he talked about sleeping on his couch for a long time until he got it together.
$23 to his name.
Yes, but it's like everybody, you don't know. Like so many people have gone through so many things. And I was telling Scott today, it's like so many people have hit rock bottom, right? Rock bottom, whether it's in life or they feel like things are so hard and they can't get any harder.
Well, there's a quote for it.
I promise you, that's usually where the growth happens, and that's where you start to grow. I always say it's like a cocoon. You're in a cocoon and you start to hatch and you become a butterfly, because honestly, life can be so hard. Things can be so hard. You're not the only one. There are so many people who have gone through so much stuff and have overcome it. You just got to stay strong and you've got to keep pushing on. But everything is possible. Anything is possible. You just have to decide you want it. I mean, that's the mission and the journey that I'm on. Like, I have so many ideas and things that I want to do. And it's just like, okay, what is that one thing? What is that, thing that I'm going to focus on and really crush? So don't think, that you're alone in this. I'm telling you, go check out Goalcast. Watch about 5 of the videos. The videos are only about 5 to 10 minutes long.
They're normal people just like us.
Normal people just like us, but some incredible stories you had no idea. And I promise you, I've watched Rihanna's, I've watched Jim Carrey has a fantastic one, but so many people have gone through things that you think you're all alone in. But guess what? People have gone through them too, and they can show you that there's so much sunlight, so many rainbows, so much wonderfulness on the other side. So when you need a little pick-me-up and you've had a really bad day and you're kind of in that slump, please go there, check it out. It is totally possible.
And the big thing is, the quote is this: everyone sees the glory, but they don't know the story. And it's the truth. You see all these people living up life and making all this money, but you have absolutely no clue no clue what they had to go through. You see these people now because it was something that we heard on a podcast by Lori and Chris Harder. And Chris asked Lori, does money make you happy? And she said, well, money definitely makes life easier and makes certain things better. But she said, if you can't be happy with where you are right now when the money isn't there, then you're never going to be happy even when the money shows up when it does show up. Because you have to find happiness in every single space of your life. Because if you can't enjoy the process of life, if you can't enjoy the journey of life, what's the point? The point is to experience things, to learn, to take away lessons. Because we always say to each other, it's so strange, like, we're not like, oh, what the fuck, not again. I always ask her, I'm like, Nancy, what's the lesson in this one? Like, what is anything that comes up where it's like, bing, gotcha. Like, it's a little flick. And it's like
you're on this plane, you're like, yeah.
And you're just going, and then something comes up.
Boom.
And instead of like overreacting, it's like, okay, what is the lesson here? Because when you can ask yourself non-emotionally, logically, what's the lesson here? What am I supposed to be taking away? Instead of internalizing it, instead of taking it personally and being a victim and whining and crying and bitching and calling my mom and everybody else and complaining about it, what's the lesson? What do I need to do to overcome this temporary inconvenience to make it a story to tell later? That's the big thing. So when you believe in the possible, everything in life becomes possible. Because I said to Nancy with one of the situations, I said, listen, I can either run away from this or take it head on, because there's always going to be something that's going to come up. Because if it's not going to be this, it's going to be that. If it's not going to be that, it's going to be this. Mm-hmm. So you have to become bulletproof. You have to take things head on. Think about how would the highest version of yourself respond or not respond or react or not react to a certain situation. And that's what you guys not need to do, should do. You should do it.
Yeah. No, always bring your best self. I mean, that's actually like lately, like every time I start to think like, well, I get a little emotional about something or whatever. It's like, how would my best self handle this?
So remember, decide what you want. Your past will always be there. So just learn to rationally, non-emotionally, logically, you just swallowed a yawn. Mm-hmm. Logically, isn't it funny how we all try, we're like, logically respond or not respond, and just remember that everything in life is possible. So if you guys want something out of life, you just got to go get it. No one's going to do it for you. You got to just work your ass off at everything. You got to work your ass off in your relationships with your kids, with your spouses, with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones, with your business partners, but most importantly with yourself. You got to focus on you first before you can focus on anything else. And our video didn't get cut off. Yay! So we hope you guys had a lot of takeaways from this. And, every Sunday we are going to keep doing these relationship talks because it's important. And if there's anything specifically that you guys want us to talk about relationship-wise, you can inbox either of us. You can leave it in the comment section below, either now or on the replay.
Yeah, we haven't had one, by the way. So if you really
want us to talk about something,
and it can be very real.
Be the first one.
Real. Throw it out there.
Someone's got to start it. Someone's got to blaze the trail. So again, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Happy November. This is my favorite time of year. Thanksgiving and fall and the leaves and Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all the fun family holidays are coming up, and it's just 2019 is right around the corner. I'm just so excited for what the future is going to bring all of us. So may you all continue to be blessed, be happy, be healthy, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.